Hi everybody. This is my new flower pot. This is a picture. There's a few holes in it. I caught my husband drilling holes in something. I thought, what was going on down there? So down I went to have his. I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm making you a triple flower pot. So he had this sewer pipe or whatever kind of pipe it is, and he thought it would make a good flower pot. So I thought I'd get some before pictures before he continued on his chore. So here is it from another angle. He put a rubber thing on the end so it will stand good, and it can be soaked, have water in the bottom bowl to for humidity, and this is the flower pot to be. Here's another picture coming. And I think I have a picture. He even put he knows what he was doing. He put a screen in the bottom so that the bark won't fall through. And following is a video of how it ended up. And please excuse that my head's part missing in it. It wasn't, I didn't plan it well enough, but here you go. Thanks. Hi everybody, and welcome to my kitchen table. We'll have coffee later. This is a kind of fun video because you might get a laugh, but my husband had this sewer pipe, believe it or not, kicking around down in the shop, and I had no idea what he was doing, and I heard him drilling holes, and I went down. And before he put paint on it, he said, well, don't you think this will make a great orchid pot? And I'm like, a sewer pot? A sewer pipe? I don't think so, I don't know. He says, well, just wait, I'm going to fix it, you know. So we also had this bowl that had two broken handles. So he filed off the handles, and he took this sewer pot and he put a little rubber thing over it, and he put a screen inside so that the bark mulch won't go through. And he said, wouldn't that make it good? So, well, it's just another excuse to get a few more plants, and I've never seen these little minis here in Salmon Arm, but we went into the store and here's 3 little minis. So I thought, okay, I have to get them. So we did get them, and I started taking the moss out of them. And I broke one little one, so I put them in a little vase. It's still very pretty. And it will probably last quite a while there. We'll put them down here. There. Okay, so first we got to get the mulch in there, and I cleaned off the first ones. And I have these old hair cutting scissors, and I put them under the gas stove so they're good that way. And I've cleaned 2 of them up already so that I wasn't wasting your time. But there was on these, was just, there was no bark, there was just sphagnum moss. But there is some nasty looking ones I'm just going to take off. Like, here's a brown one here. So I think I'll just snip that off. There. They hadn't been in the store long. They're pretty good other than that. So, there's another icky one. We'll just take off the icky ones. So, if you decide to do this, you don't have to use a sewer pot, but you can, you know, you can use any little pot, anything. So this one's ready, so I thought, well, I'll stick it in a glass of water. And this one here is, this one's pretty good. It looks good. So these 2 are ready. I've got one to get ready, and I'll put the mulch in the pot. So I have the last of my bag of mulch. I have to get some more. So we'll just dump that in there. I soaked this overnight. They advise you to soak it, and then when you put your plants in, they're not going to have too much of a shock. This comes under, you got to have some fun. We're sitting having breakfast and a bit of toast and coffee, and he says, you know, he's looking at that sewer pipe, and he says, I think I should paint it. So he come up and he shows me it, and it's got yellow spots all over it. I says, I don't know. And he said, I says, maybe you should put a little more paint on it. So back down he went, and he come up. So, hey, it's kind of like Monet painting, but he wants to have fun. That's great. So do I, because I think you do so much work. You do work for everybody. You go to work. You take your kids places. You're always busy, and you forget to have fun. And now that I'm in retirement, I'm thinking you should balance it a bit. At least do, okay, I got to do the housework, I got to vacuum, but then I'm going to do a fun thing. So make room for fun things, because the more time you spend having fun, the more addicting it gets. So whether it's orchids, painting a picture, learning to play the keyboard, there's so many things that you can do. So I think we'll put the white one in the middle. And creation is part of the fun. I mean, we all inherited creative abilities from the master of them all. And I'm just going to stick that one there. He's going to be surprised because you know, as long as they're getting they breathe, I think it's going to be so good. There can lots of drain. The water can come out the holes or out the bottom, and it's good and stable too, so it's not going to tip over. So it's a great idea. Be creative. Try and think of all the different ways that you can use your hole driller or your orchid pots. Now this is on an angle. Here's our other one. I'm going to put him there and make a little hole down in there. It's lucky I have this on a pot. I'm painting my kitchen cupboards. They're those press board cupboards. They're not real, and they were in terrible shape. So I thought, well, I just doing like 3 cupboards at a time. So I thought, well, rather than show you my messy cupboards, I better do this at the table. It'll clean up easy. Being this one's on an angle, I think that's fine. When they grow in the wild, they're on all kinds of angles. So there, we got 2. Now this one here, these are the pots that came. They're same as the orchid that was in all the water. This one, it never lost its blooms. I hope this is getting it. It never lost its blooms, and it seems happy. It was glad it got repotted. But it was in the same pot. They put them in these little plastic pots. It looks like there's a spot for a split, but they never split them. And then they came in these harder pots. So I don't think I'll be drilling any holes in them. So then this is the last one. And I just left one so that you can see. I soaked it in water. They were very dry and very packed, very hard to get the moss out. That's all that was in there. But so I did put it in a glass of water. So if you do get one, definitely repot it, because it was like a brick in there. And some of the roots, it wouldn't have, you know, it would keep for the while you brought it home. But to keep it always and every year, you get its beautiful flowers, and you look at it and it's so easy to do. So, you know, I think it's worth it to repot it and get it in a situation where it can drain easy, because most of your problems are going to come well, if you let it dry out or if you overwater it. If you overwater it, and if you feel the top of your pots and they are wet, you are going to get fungus gnats. Someday I'll do a little video on how I get rid of fungus gnats, but the top of your pot should not stay wet. Even your other flowering plants in the house, a lot of people get fungus gnats in them because they're overwatered. And here's a little trick. Take a little bit of sand, maybe an inch, and on top of your normal house plants, put a layer of sand. Now, the adult fungus gnat flies in the air, but they lay their eggs in wet, moist ground and stuff. So, if the sand is there, it's too heavy for them. If they're in the ground, they can't get out, they will die. And so just an inch or so on the top of those plants that you do water more, and it does feel damp quite often, there you go, put some sand on. I'm working on doing that for my lemon trees out in the greenhouse, because when you keep citrus fruits in the greenhouse, that fungus gnats can be a problem because they're not outdoors. So put some sand on top. Anyway, here's our last one. That was our little trick, and I will do another video another day about gnats. But you know, I want everybody to think of different ideas of displaying your orchids, and don't be afraid to come back and share them with us. We all like to see what's going on, and look outside the box, whether it's a sewer pipe that your husband brought in or anything. If you're out and you say, oh, that's a beautiful dish or pot, think of how it can be used. And that's all part of the fun of it. I'm just trying to get, this one's got a little root hanging out. Let me just pay attention to this for a minute. Put that in there. There we go. There. Now, I got a bit of cleanup to do, but we'll just take that out the way. And I'll clean it up a little bit, but there you go. Now, that's going to stand on a little planter I have over at, I think it's a north window. It gets lots of light all year, but it never gets hot, and until it goes outside. So there we go. Wait till he sees this. And thank you to all the subscribers. And don't be afraid to send a comment in that we can all read and take part in this, because it's fun to share and be creative and communicate with others and help them along the way too. So thanks for everything. Bye now.